Welcome to Relate with Miss Lisa and Ruben. Welcome to our third season with Miss Lisa and Ruben. Alrighty then, let's get into it with season 3. Wow, we're already in season 3. Episode 1 of season 3. We're calling it The Elephant in the Room. Listen to this relatable, transparent segment of Miss Lisa and Ruben as they lay their hearts on the line without judgment.
So that was an elephant in the room.
Yep.
So you think about how people say, hurting people hurt people.
Hurt people.
So until hurting people hurt people. So until you deal with, you come to grips, ask forgiveness, let go of the pain of all that past hurt, you can't really hope to be successful in a relationship.
So true.
So that's kind of some inward reflection, that we all have to do. Just search yourself. What's holding you back? And can you let that go? Can you forgive those people? Can you, truly put that behind you so that you are moving forward as that empty vessel, ready and waiting to receive the love that's out there for you?
Totally agree.
The elephant in the room could be, okay, maybe I was in a bad relationship, and there's a part of me that thinks every man I meet is going to have this bad element in him also. So I'm kind of doomed in a relationship before you even get started because I'm just putting all men in that category, or you're putting all women in this category. Okay, well, she hurt me, she stole from me, so there's part of me that thinks the next woman I meet is going to do the same thing.
And it might.
So you put...
Because you haven't discussed the elephant in the room. That elephant is creating havoc.
Exactly. So, just like we have to get the skeletons out of the closet, we have to talk about those elephants that might be unseen that are still in the room.
Right.
Wreaking havoc.
Just stomping on everything. It's like, why don't we address the elephant? Is it fear in addressing? What is it? Well, obviously there's fear in addressing the elephant in the room.
Oh, yeah.
So why is it so hard to tackle those fears? I mean, you get fears, and that fear is a part of everything. That new position you get hired for, that you don't know the people yet that you're in charge of. You don't know how the company is run. That's fear. I mean, most would say that's, as anxious, but it's fear. Everybody has fear of failing. But how do you conquer fear? How were you taught to conquer fear as a child? That elephant in
I think
the
another question would be, were you taught to conquer fear as a
well,
child?
yeah, that's a whole another segment. There's so many elements to it. There's so many elements. That's why it's as big as an elephant, because there's so many elements to fear of why aren't you moving forward. That's a key issue. You're not moving forward because no one's discussing this big ass elephant in the room, stomping on everybody. And some would even think, well, I'm never going to discuss the big elephant in the room because if I don't discuss it, nobody will see it. Or maybe I'm the only one that knows the elephant in the room. And that's ludicrous thinking.
The elephant is still going to be impacting your life and your relationships, whether you believe it is or not. It is. It's going to affect how you interact with people. Like I said, if you had physical, verbal abuse, in your previous family home or in previous relationships, and you have not dealt with that pain or, forgiveness in those situations, then you're just going to carry that. It's still there. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's still within you. So then you run the risk of, projecting that onto a new, potentially successful relationship because you haven't dealt with it.
Yeah, right. And that's when you enter the danger zone.
So for myself, I can only speak for myself because I do have, faith in God and I do read His Word and I do believe His Word, then I have to go back to the words. Just like the verse that I sent you this morning that said, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind.
Yes.
So I have to go back. I have to go back to that place. It's like, okay, Lord, I didn't even realize this. I was standing in the shower when it hit me, this revelation that I had not released that pain from the physical and verbal abuse that I suffered as a child and a teenager.
Yeah.
I had not forgiven those people, my parents, not necessarily protecting me from all those elements, my grandparents for inflicting some of that pain and trauma upon me. Even though some of those people, actually all of those people have passed, I can still go to God and say, Lord, I'm releasing this pain to you. I don't want it to be holding me down in any way. I want to move forward in a positive direction. So I'm just releasing this to you. And I forgive those people, and I ask to be forgiven for whatever my part might have been.
That's powerful.
That's all I can do.
That's powerful, Miss Lisa. That's powerful.
So let go and let God take care of the rest of it. And as He always does.
Yes.
And then I was able to begin to talk to you about my childhood and my teenage years and my young adult years. And there was no more fear about talking about it. I didn't feel that pain within me. It's like, this is something that happened. And I acknowledge that it happened, but I don't have to let it continue to affect the rest of my life.
Amen. That's the point I want to get to. Affecting the rest of your life. Why are you jeopardizing your life for an elephant? You're tripping up your life and all that you dreamt that you want to do, that in your mind that will bring you happiness. You tripping over yourself because you won't discuss the elephant that's between you and what you're trying to get to. Whatever it is you're reaching for, God allows you to see it in your vision. That's why you're reaching for it. That's why you're dreaming about it. Because God is allowing you to see what you silently been asking Him for. But you're reaching, but the elephant is in between that and what God has for you. And I understand about being transparent is not easy. It wasn't easy for me to get there. And it still bothers me when certain people say, you too transparent. But then when we go our separate ways, they found out they really don't know me. Oh, I thought you said I was transparent. So you see, transparent is getting rid of that fear and showing you who God say I am. You chose not to believe it and believe what you think I am. And now you're fooled. I got rid of my elephant a long time ago. I've been taking leaps of faith. I just like you step out in traffic. That's what a leap of faith is, the fear of stepping out in oncoming traffic, praying that you don't get hit. And God has blessed me every leap that I took. He had a step for me. As soon as I raised my leg, before I put my leg down, He already had something for me to step on, so to help me take the next step. That elephant in the room, that fear, it's no joke. It's holding a lot of people back. It's holding a lot of people back from loving, from being their true selves. That fear you have is reminding you that you haven't let go of the past. Fear is reminding you, hey, we live together. You haven't moved out yet. You haven't walked towards your destiny because that elephant is blocking your path. Now, I hope all this time we're talking about the same elephant, which in my mind is fear.
Yes.
Okay. Well, fear is like the size of an elephant. Let's just say 10 feet tall, and the girth is 80 feet wide. And he can crush you like a bug. In fact, you are a bug compared to to an elephant. That's the size of fear. But when you just keep walking, taking that leap, the elephant gonna raise that trunk, gonna raise that foot as though you're about to be crushed. But you just like Job said, even though he slay me, I still trust him. You keep walking, and before you know it, you walk past that elephant in the room. You walk past that fear. Now you're walking towards your destiny. So why a lot of people don't know what or how to get in contact with their spiritual gifts. Because that elephant in the room is something. It holds back everything. It don't just hold you back from your what is it, soulmate. It'll hold you back from family getting together and getting along with you. It'll hold you back from your friends. They start tripping all of a sudden. That elephant is just meant to kill and destroy. Look what Donald Trump did to our country. He used fear to destroy our country. Nobody gets along with anybody anymore. I'm still trying to check my white friends, which I didn't have to do that before. So that fear can disrupt everything if you let it. If you let it. That's the power of God. He gave us.
So,
Go ahead.
oh, you finished.
Huh?
All right, go ahead.
No.
I thought you were about to be finished.
I
So
was.
no, finish that thought. 'Cause
I was putting a cap on it. I'm waiting. I've been awaiting your comments on that. I talked too much anyway on that.
you do not love. So, I just think it's important for all of us, whether we're already in a relationship, whether we have an established relationship, whether we're looking to start a relationship, is to do that self-reflection. And, just look within yourself and think about, what could be holding me back? Because I don't want to bring that into a new relationship, into another relationship, or I don't want to keep it in the relationship that I'm currently in. Because, as we always tell you guys, we're on this journey together. So we are learning these things ourselves, between the two of us.
Real time, in real time.
We are sharing it with you with the hope that, maybe it will give you some pause to think about, what we're experiencing and just reflect and say, hey, that's a good point.
What is done?
Is there something that?
Doesn't the scripture say consider all? So consider all points.
Yeah, consider all. But again, as for me, that was why I was not able to. Ruben is, telling me his whole life story, and I'm just kind of sitting there silent. And he's like, "Why doesn't she share her story with me?" And I had to deal with my elephant in the room that I had never acknowledged. I had not even talked about my childhood, to my own child. And she had mentioned that once before. And I just said, I just don't care to talk about that time. And I didn't care to talk about that time because it was a very painful time for me. It was nothing that I wanted to remember, but it was still affecting my relationship. And so I had to deal with my elephant in the room. And that dealing was, going to Jehovah, the one who created it all, and acknowledging my pain, letting the floodgates of tears open up.
Oh, yeah.
And just being healed of that, being healed of that pain. I don't have to hold on to that. I didn't have to hold on to that. Once I said, Lord, I'm just giving it to you.
Yes.
I let it go. I release it.
Yes.
And so for me, my relationship with Ruben, that was another positive step forward.
Right.
Because if you can't discuss the deepest things
say it
in your life
say it
to the one that you want to be with,
say it.
what does that say?
And boy, did it take you a long time to get there. I mean, that's the reason why I sound so transparent, because I was trying to show you, hey, girl, I battled the same thing. You need to stop holding on to that elephant. But, it took you were trying to wait to see. I let you see all my bad stuff as well as my good stuff, because I knew what you was. I was dealing with the same thing when it came to women. I became so relaxed with not having that elephant in the room in front of me, sleeping with me, taking showers with me. I became so relaxed that I left myself, and I knew I left myself too open. So I suffered the consequences, and I'm not tripping over it. I knew, because the true gift was I finally got rid of that elephant. So now I need to tame my thinking, which that came really quick. I knew what I was into before, so it wasn't that surprising. She thought she was fooling me. I wasn't fooled, not one day, not 1 minute. I already knew the most that any person can take from one person beside their life is just their possessions. And the Bible said, don't be holding on to your possessions like that, where thieves can break in and rob it, or fire can destroy it. As many people in the grave held on to their possessions and never got a chance to spend it or enjoy it, because their life was shorter than what they expected it to be. And that's what I blame that elephant. There's no reason for a sane, intelligent, smart individual that you guys are to be holding on to something that's actually stopping you from moving forward. So when I see it, I make myself vulnerable to show you, hey, that's putting a lot of stress on your heart. You may think you're protecting yourself. It's not saying don't protect yourself, but you can put away some of those devices in order to grant you some peace. You don't need all of those devices. And in fact, you don't need a device at all if you can truly put away fear and trust in the one true and living God, that he says his plans for you are not to harm you, but to prosper you. Well, if he said, I ain't gonna hurt you, I'm trying to make you the wealthiest person on the planet. And he told that to each and every one of us. So all of us can be wealthy. And if everybody wealthy, everybody happy.
Good morning. Well, that is really good. And now it's time for me to go to work.
Okay.
So I will pick this conversation up with you later.
Okay, kick it on down the road. I love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.
Join us again for another transparent, exciting, and opinionated episode of Relate with Miss Lisa and Ruben. Goodbye.